There are probably few more famous speeches than that which was delivered by Churchill on the 20th of August, 1940. In his famous "The Few" speech, Churchill praised the diligence, bravery and sacrifice of RAF Fighter Command as he proclaimed, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." And when you think about it, this concept of debt is central to Remembrance Day and Remembrance Sunday, as we remember the sacrifices of men and women made to secure our freedoms. We acknowledge the debt that we owe to them, a debt that we know we can never repay, because the giving of one's life in the service of others is the ultimate sacrifice. But I wonder whether you're familiar with the story surrounding the coining of that famous phrase within Churchill's speech. So the anecdote goes, Churchill was rehearsing this famous speech whilst travelling by car with his chief military assistant, General Hastings Pug Ismay. And when Churchill got to that line, he said, "Never in the history of mankind has so much been so owed by so many to so few." But then General Ismay asked him, "What about Jesus?" To which Churchill is said to have remarked, "Good old Pug." And so the final version was changed by Churchill to be, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." And so in his rephrasing, Churchill paid the deepest of respect to men and women of RAF Fighter Command, whilst also recognizing the uniqueness of Jesus' sacrifice. And I think this morning that Churchill's is a good pattern to follow here. Today, in this service, we remember and acknowledge the debt that we owe to the many men and women the world over who have paid the ultimate cost to secure us our freedoms and peace. We just heard read, "Greater love has no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." And those who we remember today took those words of Jesus and lived them, laying down their life in the service of others. But today we also remember another sacrifice, a sacrifice that all of these are pictures and pointers towards. Elsewhere in the Bible, we read very rarely, "Will anyone die for a righteous person?" Though for a good person, someone might possibly be willing to die. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. You see, it is a great act of love to lay down your life for a friend, but words truly begin to fail when you hear of the one who laid down his life for his enemies. The author of those words knew their reality. It was the Apostle Paul, formerly Saul of Tarsus, who wrote those words in the Bible. Formerly a persecutor of the early church. He stood watch over that first martyrdom of Stephen, as Stephen was stoned to death, looking on gleefully. And then he went from there and continued in his work of rounding up and persecuting the early church. But on the road to Damascus, he met with the last person he ever imagined he would see, the resurrected Jesus Christ. And his life was transformed as he came to understand the one that he hated so much had loved him to death. Imagine that, laying down your life for your enemy. What kind of a person, what kind of love does that? And so today, in this troubled world, as we remember those who laid down their lives for us, we honour their sacrifices as we work towards a more peaceful world. But we also hold on to the one who loved us to his death, who gave up his life on a cross, so that we might know his love, his peace, his forgiveness. And he offers that to all of us, just as he offered it to Saul of Tarsus. But like Saul, we have to respond. We each have to personally receive his offer. We do that as we turn away from all that sent him to the cross in the first place, what the Bible calls sin, everything that separates us from God and neighbour. And as we turn towards him with faith, we've got an opportunity to do that just now as we stand and sing our next hymn, Dear Lord and Father of Mankind. Please stand.